Hello and welcome to the Psychic Tarot Weekly Show, coming to you live here every Saturday on the Beyond Mystic YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. Just checking over in the comments to see many of you familiar faces. Tarot by Lupo, Seventh Pillar, Dottie. Hi. Hello, everyone. Truth be told, so happy you made it live. Hi, Digibean. Hi there to all our fellow cosmic lights. Well, how are you all feeling? How's this last week been treating you? I am feeling pretty great. A lot of that productivity that we saw last week has kicked into gear for me, and I'm really feeling this energy of the Virgo season coming upon us. And hi, Angela, Crypto Blonde. Feeling great today. Yeah. Hi, Angela. Lovely to see you. So before we get started, of course, I'm going to remind you, as I always do, to please like, share, and subscribe right over here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And you can also follow us over here on Rumble and X channels. If you would like to book a session with me, you can book a private 1-hour psychic tarot reading session. I am taking bookings into the middle to the end of next week. You can use the coupon code below to get a discount of 10% off the cost of this reading, and you will receive a recording of the reading. So let's get started, everybody. I'm going to add my cards into the stage. Here we go. Let's see what this week has in store for us. I've already cleared the cards. I've already done 2 sessions today. It's still pretty early in the day for me here on the West Coast. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hi, Crypto Blonde. Hi from Toronto. Yeah. Hearing Sweet Pea saying, I'm feeling so removed from everyone and everything right now. I don't know who I am. My references are faded. Has anyone else able to relate to this? I think that is part of what happens, when we come into, even just being in a woo community, right? Even being interested in things that are outside of the mainstream reality, there is an aspect of alienation that comes along with that. And I think it's a very interesting life path that we chose to come in and be, on the thin edge of the wedge or the tip of the iceberg of new revelations, new ways of perceiving reality, of seeing the future. And it can be a very lonely existence. That's why I feel it's so important that we have each other in platforms like this. And I receive so much inspiration by working with many of you virtually, getting to meet you, even online. It's just such an amazing experience to get to meet you and get to know you a little bit, and for you to get to know me a little bit more, for you to get to know each other in the chats and so on. Because it can be a little bit of a lonely and isolating path, and yet it feels like, that's part of the path of a pioneer. Penny Kelly and I were talking about that yesterday on our Intuition Friday, and we were saying how, this is the archetype of the pioneer, is that we're the ones that go ahead of the crowd, and we blaze the trail. In order to be those kind of people, there has to be a certain element of, obviously courage, curiosity. Curiosity to me is one of the biggest gifts that we have, because it keeps us going. because we realize, oh, wow, I'm just starting to understand something as we go down these rabbit holes, right? Like I'm just starting to get the big picture of this or more clarity on this. And wow, doesn't that just make you want to go deeper and look below the surface of life? So I feel like we're pioneers, we're researchers, we're warriors, and those archetypes tend to be more solo or independent and less part of the mob. So maybe share in the comments how you feel about that. Gosh, I'm doing it again today. I've got this tickle in my throat. I don't know what it is about my Saturday show. It's like, yeah, something that I'm needing to be able to express, and we'll see if that comes up in this overview. Okay, well, here we go. Starting us off this week. Isn't that interesting? That is a lot. Thank you, Lupo. That is a lot of what I was just speaking about, this feeling of isolation, of being alone, of being either in front of the wave, behind the wave, like somehow out of step with full frequency, full flourishing. And this is a card that also has to do with us looking at life from the cup is half empty placement. And we go through phases like that as individuals, as a collective consciousness. This is about our collective consciousness for the week ahead. So there could be this tendency this week to view reality from that cup half full place. Now we're going to see the rest of this wheel and see what kind of insights can help balance that out. But we're just coming in, if you were thinking like halftime during the relay race or something, we're sitting on the bench pretty tired and maybe having a hard time keeping the morale up. So this is a lower morale card. And let's see what wants to support that within the big picture here. Okay, so first of all, we're taking a pause, a rest, meditating. So this is in the house of Taurus. It can also relate to our physical bodies needing to rest. Now, we saw this a little bit last week. Is this just about laying around doing nothing? I don't feel that. I feel it's more very purposeful rest. So it's not just sitting on, Netflix or something. This is very much a giving yourself almost a spa-like rest, because it's in the house of Taurus, and Taurus rules, among other things, the physical reality and our senses. So something around sensory deprivation, but just giving yourself an opportunity this week to have a little silence, a little darkness, a little reprieve from maybe excessive media watching. And it doesn't mean that you have to live the whole week like that, but it does show that we need some, I know there's a word for this and it's escaping me right now. There's a word for these kind of where you take a fast from consuming something, and I can't remember what it's called. Let me know in the comments if you know what this is. Dopamine. That's it. A dopamine fast. I got it. So the dopamine is where we are kind of on that treadmill of having a lot of sensory overwhelm. Hey, yeah. Najim is saying digital fast. That's one type of dopamine fast. So the dopamine, I believe, is what is produced from getting a lot of sensory stimulus. And so, this is like the old-fashioned kind of sensory deprivation tank, the flotation tank where you go in and you're weightless. There's no sound, it's soundproof. There's no light. And so you have that experience of a lot of surrendering into that inner peaceful place. And of course, this is in Taurus. Taurus is a lot about pleasure, the senses, enjoying ourselves. So, right, dopamine is from pleasure. Digibean says a dope fast, right? Perhaps that's in order for some people. So yeah, is it we're taking a fast from pleasure? Maybe it's that we are taking a fast from a certain kind of addiction to the indulgence, the type of indulgence. You know, I used to say there's a difference between an indulgence and a luxury. An indulgence is something that gives us a hit, temporary hit, but it doesn't really have a lasting effect, right? You eat a chocolate bar, you're probably not going to feel super great 2 hours later from it. Whereas a luxury is something where it gives you pleasure that actually sustains itself. So just really looking at this week around this idea of reformatting or regrouping, resetting your dopamine meter a little bit. I have to say, I have a Mars in Taurus. It makes me really grumpy to think about going on a dopamine fast. My younger daughter loves to do these. She does them all the time. And I just think it doesn't feel good to me. But I know it's good for me. And I know that when I find a way to do it naturally, like putting myself out in nature for an afternoon and really having a very little stimulus outside of the awesome stimulus of the natural world, that is really good for me. That's a good way for me to unplug. Okay, now interesting. Now we have, isn't this is a very interesting line of cards. Jump in the comments, fellow tarot readers, and just share how unusual this is to have 5 of Pentacles and then 4 of Swords and then the Strength card in Gemini. So Strength in Gemini, 4 of Swords in Taurus, and 5 of Pentacles in Aries, the self. Yeah, this is a very curious lineup. It's almost like we come in feeling a bit road weary here at the beginning of this week. We do some kind of a reset with our dopamine or our pleasure indulgence kind of energy. And then we actually have a reset around real pleasure. And we might get real pleasure this week from visioning, planning, conceptualizing, discussing. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Janine had those 2 cards in her JC's impromptu today. Yeah, interesting. Right? So this is, you see, this is what happens, right? Like Janine and I, not obviously you see me shuffling, she's nowhere around. Like we're tuning into a collective or universal frequency that's going on planet Earth right now, especially among our people. So this is where we're at. This is really very interesting. This is also being in Gemini, which is ideas and communication. You know, there's a sense of being able to advocate for yourself and also having confidence. So restoring your confidence. There could be some way that you focus this week on building your confidence up with things like positive affirmations, reviewing. Like a great way to build your confidence is to, you know, write your bio or a little resume or a little elevator pitch, redefine your personal mission, maybe even just jot down some of your accomplishments over the last 6 months or a year. this could be a really good time to take stock of your strengths and your achievements, which is going to elevate your confidence. Because it almost seems like we're kind of using our pleasure receptors where we indulge in things that create dopamine because we're struggling to feel not only secure, but a sense of confidence in all of this uncertainty and all this chaos. So, yeah. I'm a Mars and Taurus too, Ashala. Thanks for your response. Also, thanks, Digibean and Truth Told. Yeah, right. A respite from the illusion. A respite from the illusion. Well, it's really, in this case, this card can be a respite from the illusion. It's also a respite from the physical, because it's in Taurus. It's the physical program that we've got running, our habits, our lifestyle habits. Yeah. Feeling the confidence coming back. Yeah. Right? It has been a challenge at times to keep that level of confidence going through all of the changes, through all of the uncertainty, through being, as I was saying, the pioneers, the warriors, the researchers. Okay, so love this. This is fantastic. In the house of home and family of origin, or people connected to your sanctuary, your home base. This is great. This feels like you may venture out on little adventures this week that are not too far from home, but that keep you feeling encouraged, developing your confidence. So there is, it's not necessarily a stay home and be a homebody week. Isn't that interesting, right? It's like we're supposed to be taking a bit of a dopamine fast, but there's also a feeling of going on little adventures. This could also be your own adventure, like literally in your own backyard or something. So it could be doing different activities around the house that you don't normally do, maybe more outdoor things, making an effort to not just sit and stew. Yeah. Okay, another 4. 4 of Cups in the house of Leo. So isn't that curious too? Because we've got confidence. You're starting to kind of pep talk your way into being more confident. But in Leo, there's still this just not feeling super open, confident, and trusting. So we've got a bit of what I call a mixed bag going on this week. We've got two sides of things going on simultaneously, right? We've got the confidence building here, but then also the feeling of needing to stay kind of protected. We've got the go out and have some adventures or change something. This is the try new things, explorer, buffet sampler card. But then we also have the, dopamine reset going on. So there's just a little of both, I guess. Yeah. My garden needs work. Yeah, the gardens often do need work. And look at this. It's Labor Day weekend. So it's very interesting that when I think about, my mom was a Virgo, she's passed now, but she had her birthday on Labor Day weekend. And she just had that kind of energy about her. It's funny, it's called Labor Day, but she had a work ethic that she could just putter endlessly, day and night, no matter where she was, just sort of humming away. And it was very pleasurable for her being a Virgo and liking to just sort of you know, sort of keep all the ducks in a row and dot all the I's and cross all the T's like it gave her pleasure. So it could be that we are like looking at that kind of energy this week, just tapping into the pleasure of doing all these little things. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So in Virgo, daily life, health, and habits. Wow. Okay. Because it feels like there's a few ways you could read this, folks. One, you could read that there may be some upsetting health oriented things around you, which is so interesting because I just had a visit from a friend last week, a girlfriend and her husband who were in the midst of a whole series of he went to visit, and he suddenly had, a gallbladder flare up and had to go into the same hospital his dad was in, and now has to have emergency gallbladder surgery. So those kind of compounding, like chaotic nodes around health. I mean, fortunately, surgery's done. His dad's doing better. He's doing better. It's like, but it was definitely a node of a lot of impactful. And, with the tower, it's sort of like clearing things that needed to be shifted. Like he probably needed to do some healing and maybe change his diet, health habits, lifestyle, and so on. So there are things that are catching up to us this week. And I want to see what's beside this and around it as well, because this could also mean that we will have our daily lives disrupted this week by either disruptions in service, in power, in internet service, things like that, because this is being impacted by sudden disruptions. Okay, let's see what's beside that. Well, very well blessed there on the other side of that. If this was surrounded by challenging cards, it would be that much more concerning, but it isn't. We're feeling a bit protective, and that's probably for a good reason. In Libra is about working together, partnerships, being a team, especially with your closest partners. And look at this, 2 people working together, going through a gateway of up-leveling. So teamwork, partnership, this isn't just romantic relationships. These are relationships where teamwork is essential and you have to work together for a common goal. That is well aspected this week. So whatever's going to happen with these disruptions, either health complications personally or in your close circle, or disruptions in services, either way, your teamwork with the people close to you is going to be accentuated, enhanced by these disruptions. So it shows you your team. And it may appear that the team is stronger than you thought. So isn't that lovely? Yeah. Oh, my signal is breaking up. That is really strange. Is that happening for all of you? Let me know. Oh, yeah, it says my sound is choppy. Okay, let me just check down here and look at my sound. Audio. Okay, mic volume, I'll turn it up a little bit more. Okay. Let me know if that's okay, if it's still sounding good. Audio choppy. Thought it was my internet, choppy sound. Okay, Shoot. My internet looks like it. Just when I was saying that internet disruption could be happening. Okay. Let me know if it's getting better or worse. I want to keep checking in here to see if there's something else I can do to make this better. I might try one more thing. Thanks for hanging in there with me, folks. Oh, this technology, isn't it wonderful? I'm going to do something here, which is remove the reduce my background noise. So how is the sound now? Is it any better? That's better, sounds okay now. Now it's clear, better. Okay, I think it was just something. It gets better, then choppy again. Seems to be intermittent. Oh, goodness. Oh, dear. I'm wondering if it has to do with the streaming. Are you watching on, oh yeah, I can see you're on Rumble, a lot of you, but then also on YouTube. Okay. Sorry, folks, don't really know what to say about it. I'm trying to work with it. This is such an interesting read. Aw, thank you for that, Mary. This is such an interesting read. We can hear and nothing is lost. It's okay. Aw, thank you. I'm so sorry. It's really frustrating when that happens, isn't it? We can deal with it, I'm sure. Thank you. We'll ride through this choppiness. And if you didn't hear me, I was speaking about disruptions in internet and in potentially power and so on. Curious that it was happening right when I said that. Thank you. Real good now. That sounds great. We'll work with that. So we have 3 fours right now. We have 4 of swords, 4 of cups, 4 of wands. What do I say about 3 of a kind? 3 of a kind, it's a blessing. So blessings around stabilizing. So disruption causes us to focus on what needs stabilization. And yeah, DigiBean says mastery. So I find that 2 of a kind I relate to mastery, and 3 of a kind I relate to a blessing, meaning we're being supported in really receiving the blessing of what are the 4s about? 4s are about, yes, Mary Jones says stability. So we are in this disruption finding our stability. We're finding our confidence and our courage to be these a little bit loner, pioneer, warrior researchers, and to find, teamwork. Yeah, sometimes the team is inside of yourself. And from that place, you build your relationships to sort of model after how you are with the different parts of yourself. Have you ever found that? Do you ever find that you have 2 aspects of yourself that are at war with each other or don't want to work together? So this teamwork, the Libra energy, is starting within yourself. So let's say you have 2 aspects, like I was talking about, my Mars and Taurus doesn't like to go on a pleasure fast. And yet a lot of the other aspects of my chart and my personality really appreciate the value of things like fasting, like reset. So how do I work with those 2 parts of me? How do they come together as a team? Maybe I work with my Mars and Taurus and I say, okay, I recognize that you don't want to be completely left with, zero dopamine, right? But let's focus on things that are pleasurable, but also healthy. So, what are examples of that, right? I love swimming. I love swimming in outdoor water. So, it's healthy for me. It's also something that I enjoy. Same with my morning hikes. I love my morning walks. So, those are kind of like dual purpose. My Mars and Taurus goes, yeah, I like this. And my other parts that want to be focused on health and being in nature, they're also going, works for me. So we're working together as a team, the different parts of ourselves. Oh, video is 4 minutes behind the chat. It doesn't happen on our larger audience shows. Oh, right. We just need to get a larger audience on here. Come on, folks, let's make that happen. Yeah. Okay. Mary Jones. Thanks for your comments today, Mary Jones. I haven't seen you much before, but it's lovely to hear your feedback today. You can really talk to yourself in the third person. We love it. Apparently, I say, you're such a good healer to my feet, for instance. Yeah, right? So, teamwork. Okay, let's keep going. A pause. Another pause. Look at that. Rest and rest across from each other. So Taurus and Scorpio. Feeling the need to integrate disruption. I certainly have been feeling this. I feel like for the last maybe 3 weeks, I've been feeling just this kind of antsy energy of not foreboding, but recalibrating. Like I have to be recalibrating a lot on a regular basis. That's what this feels like. It's like we are Scorpio, endings and new beginnings, being relatively gentle with yourself and taking this gradually. Also not going to extreme. Scorpio is kind of an extreme sign, an extreme house. It's death and rebirth. So we are, again, doing some very purposeful mindfulness, meditation, calming the mind, not getting worked up. I mean, so far, the swords cards that we have here are both about calming our minds. So I like that. That's a good way to handle a week where we could be feeling somewhat sort of low energy or cup half full energy, and either perceiving or experiencing some disruptions in our daily health and lifestyle. So it does seem like this is a good time to focus on calming the mind, resting the mind. Oh my gosh, this spread is one of those, I do call it the mixed bag type. Every few weeks we get something like this where it's both. So we have, I mean, I feel like they're playing tricks on us, folks. We have, calming the mind, but also having fun. So I guess what we're looking at is that teamwork energy of balancing between, pleasure that is a luxury but not an indulgence, balancing between feeling discouraged and like the cups half full toward encouraging ourselves and working on self-esteem, positive affirmation. We've got 2 3s here. So mastering the ability to kind of play in between the challenges. And this is 3 of Cups in Sagittarius. This could also be a great week to do some armchair traveling where you maybe make some plans about a trip, but it doesn't necessarily feel, because we don't, we have staying relatively close to home, but there could be some larger plans in the works. And even if it's a ways off down the road that this trip you're envisioning is, sometimes, just as I say, the armchair traveler, it's like window shopping. It can be good for the soul sometimes. So maybe get out some of those travel vision ideas and just have a look at them again. And for some of you, you might be doing traveling. And it doesn't look too badly aspected here, which I'm very encouraged by. See, it's got the Strength card across from it. So it could actually be a window of positive travel, especially the first few days of this week could be positive for trips. That's nice. Oh, look at that. We've got a travel card right next to that. Interesting. So a sudden trip, or a sudden need to make a trip, this card being at the top, Chariot at the top, it also feels like it's a very good week to prepare your car or your vehicle. Like, if your vehicle needs some maintenance, just have your vehicle kind of ready to go. There might be some unexpected need to make a trip. Again, I'm not getting super far from home here, but an unexpected change of plans that could have you traveling to see friends. Well, that was certainly how it was for my friends. All of a sudden, I literally got a message, we're like an hour away. And I was like, what? Oh my gracious. Because it was responding to a medical emergency. And so suddenly they were in my neck of the woods, and I just kind of dropped everything and rearranged my reality a little bit. But for them, that idea that you might want to just have your vehicle ready. And of course, it's a really good thing to do during Virgo season is wash your car, have your car serviced, that sort of thing, because our vehicles are actually a representation of not only our bodies, but also our path forward in life. So if you don't have a vehicle, maybe you have a bicycle. What do you do when you travel if you don't have a vehicle yourself? Look at your travel bags, look at all your stuff, doing some changes around being prepared to just literally kind of jump on a plane. Wow, what an interesting overview this is. Okay, just going to check the comments, see how the sound is doing now. Aw, Lupo's saying, is anyone going to Ireland to see Janine? Right? That could be, that could be a trip that some of you might suddenly make, especially if you're already over in that neck of the woods. Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing. My sister was very normal, said she was feeling very anxious, like something's about to happen. So I would thank you for that comment. I would say for me, it is less of an anxiety and more of a premonition feeling. And I'm happy that it doesn't feel like an anxiety. It's more of that, like something's happening and I got to be a little bit alert. And again, that's another reason to not just go into, because I think a lot of times when we're feeling that, we start to just medicate that with all the pleasure things. Let's have some more chocolate or ice cream. Let's have some more, you know, let's watch the entire season on Netflix. Like, we tend to want to kind of cover around that. And it's a good idea this week to maybe balance out just retreating into some sort of dopamine hit to make yourself feel better, but it doesn't actually really make you feel better. And in the long run, it probably makes you feel worse. Let's go into a little bit more like things that are going to be beneficial no matter what, right? If nothing happens, it's great to, you know, a few times a year, do some maintenance on your car. This is really making me go, okay, I'm going to clean my car this week. I've been putting it off for way too long. Yep. It's a funny thing to be directed to do on the forecast, but I'll take the advice. Okay, and and funny enough, I do have an appointment to get my bike tuned up already this coming week, so I was on that already. My car and my bike will get a bit of a tune-up and a maintenance this week. Okay, so we are at the King of Cups, and King of Cups in the house of Aquarius. King of Cups in Aquarius. Oh, it's a strange place for the King of Cups. Aquarius is a lot about, like, you know, future technologies. It's about humanitarianism. It's about the Aquarian age, decentralization of power. This king is not about any of that stuff. And if anything, he's kind of emotionally dragging things down a bit with his, like he's the opposite energy of a lot of that Aquarian aspect. And he's across from this Four of Cups. So because he's across from this, I want to see what's on the other side of him to see how well aspected he is. Oh, that's pretty good. Six of Pentacles in Pisces. Well, I want to say something positive about this king there. He's not bad in that position, but I feel a little bit suspicious, honestly, about what is he doing in Aquarius. I guess the best version of this is, you know, the humanitarian, you know, devote yourself to something on a very, very deep emotional level, bring your maturity into play. I guess I could see that, especially because he's just above this Strength card here. He's wedged between the Chariot and the Six of Pentacles. So seeing in the next 6 or 7 months how you could be called to step into a role as some sort of like spiritual ambassador, you know, a humanitarian role. Yeah, I could see that actually. So right now, feeling like this, that feels like a big stretch to go from feeling like it's hard to see a lot of the positivity, or it could be challenging for some of you to see the positivity. But we can see things moving in a positive direction. We can see the evidence starting to build up. We can see the change in the actual financial, practical aspects of life. Yeah, this could be a longer range calling to humanitarian response on behalf of some of you. going to put a card in the center. Oh, lovely, lovely healing card for the center. And I do want to pull some cards on the military in the 19 cities in the US. I do want to pull cards on that. I said I would do that yesterday when I was with Penny Kelly. So let's have a look at that. Okay, we've got Temperance as our final card, which is now, remember I said earlier, it's a mixed bag this week. That feeling of going back and forth between one side of things and the other side of things, between confidence and discouragement, between exploration, maybe even a little bit of travel or armchair traveling. But then also resetting and going on a bit of a dopamine or pleasure fast. So it's very, very interesting combo of things happening. Okay, just checking in. Yes, let's pull cards on that. Trying to say positive, it's just the world that messes it up, LOL. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to close up the wheel and take this last few minutes to pull cards on the 19 cities. And by the way, if any of you are in one of those cities, can you jump into the comments and just let us know what the situation is like on the ground where you are, so that we can kind of look at the cards and also look at narratives from within our own community. That would be super helpful. And here it goes. Whoop, closing it all up. Don't always do that when you're watching, so we get to do that together today. Clearing. And remind me what some of these cities are. I know that Washington, D.C. is one of them. I'm up in Canada, so it's just actually, interestingly, hardly in our news at all. I'm also curious to know, is it in your news in the US and in other parts of the world? Because our mainstream news, I'm hearing not a lot about this. Okay, I got that was enough. So what do we need to know about what's happening? I actually pulled some cards on this a few days ago on my own YouTube channel. We'll see what shows up today. So that feeling of the waiting, the pause, kind of like a bit of a stalemate. This is a stalemate card. Oh, holy. I mean, happily ever after is the middle card here. So, a reset to bring in a new system. Okay, I mean, I'm going to pull a few more just to be really sure here, but these are excellent cards. These are excellent, excellent cards. What I was getting a few days ago when I pulled on it was that this was about clearing out of the swamp. And, when you remove a lot of people off the streets, it's like when you take the food source away and, the rats have to come out looking for it and show themselves, right? They have to go further out of their hidey holes, and then they're easy to spot. That was kind of what I was getting a few days ago. This almost feels like it is, there's there's sort of a stalemate that's happened, but a renewal. It reminds me a bit, everybody, of what happened during COVID and how, as tragic as the lockdowns were, people coming into their homes, regrouping around a different set of values, not just putting themselves out there to work for whatever this goal is, but realizing the value of home and family. I mean, that wasn't always the case. Sometimes it was way too overwhelming for everybody involved. But there was a great movement post lockdown where a lot of people said, heck, I don't want to go back and work in the corporate 9 to 5. I want to stay working from home. And if I can work from home doing this job, what else can I do working from home? So it sort of opened up a window of opportunity because it just gave us a break from the old way. That's what I feel this is. It's something about clearing the streets, even, like in some places during the lockdown and the pandemic, it like nature revived itself because there just wasn't so much human impact. I feel like there's something like this going on where we are seeing a renewal of a sense of health and on our streets, pride in our communities. Like, yeah, it just feels like that has something to do with it. Let's see your responses to this. So rated a few businesses here that were housing illegal immigrants. One place was a nice restaurant in, Foley, right? Rat catching, yep. In South Carolina, we say that about cockroaches. Yeah. Los Angeles, Sacramento, Chicago, Las Vegas that I can remember. Yeah. In the Netherlands, they're only talking about the death of Trump. Yeah, saying that we're getting that news broadcast on our mainstream media here too. So in Utah, not a lot happening. ICE is here, but so far quiet. Big ones, the big blue cities like New York, Baltimore, LA. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, connected to larger illegal activity. Yeah, great. We spent more time outdoors during the pandemic than any other time. Good for you, Lufo. That's awesome. I would have done that, but I was up in the north staying with my daughter at that time when she was living way the heck up north, and it was March, April, May, June, freezing cold, snow. It was one of the biggest snowy years in like recorded history up there. I actually have video footage of that April, May, June of 2020 where there was so much snow that they had to use like what do you call it? Not excavators, but yeah, they had to go in with excavators. The snowplows couldn't handle the amount of snow there was, and I got pictures of the excavators and then the snowplows following them in the wall of snow being like a 2-story building or something. Just craziness. Anyway, so I wasn't outside very much during those months, unfortunately. But I really did start doing online work at that point, and look at me now. So, yeah, interesting. A new sense of what's possible. Let's pull a few more cards on this, everybody. waiting. Right. So, I really do have a lot of empathy for any innocent people that are getting caught in this. It's very, very unfortunate. And yeah, it is really about also resetting on a global level as well. So, and interesting that what we saw today around teamwork, we saw that for us as a collective, we see it for us as individuals, we also see it in the world stage, the political arena. And so great allies, great partnerships coming into alignment from all directions. Do you see that? This is like the 4 directions. Allies from all parts, from all corners coming together. And this is also about uniting the different directions of the United States as well. So it's kind of like coming into a unified sort of solidarity of purpose. Yeah. I mean, I'm really happy to see this. And the other thing that I want to point out with this card here is that you'll know that we're still on track as a white hat op if things are just happening very gradually and slowly. This is, slow and steady. Speed is not necessary when your game plan is so like sort of large and complete, if that makes sense. It's like this is a strategic game plan that is best done gradually and steadily. So yeah, I'm really encouraged to see that there. Well, we made it through with sound glitches and all. Oh, you and Janine are so connected to the cards. She pulled those 2 cards as clarifiers, right? I mean, you don't make this stuff up, folks. This is how we roll. And I haven't even looked at Janine's shows, or it works better when you do this kind of work, that you don't over program yourself with any information, that you come at it from the heart in that beautiful power neutral bandwidth of the heart, align with the greater good of all. It's not so much like, okay, I have a preconceived idea. I can have a sense of things. And of course, I'm making my own sensitive and sensible analysis of things, but I don't overly focus on the details or on other people's narratives. I really go in as much as possible with a blank slate. So yeah, thanks for that. So we're coming up to the hour, everybody. Yeah, slow and steady. Her Miller, thank you. Sending love to you all. Yeah, I'm very happy to have something positive like this to sort of close the week off. And I look forward to seeing you all here next week. Before we go out, of course, I'm going to just bring you back to remind you about this. You can book a 1-hour session with me. Check that coupon code below and receive an extra 10% off. And I'm taking bookings into the middle of next week. So love to meet you over there, and you'll receive a recording of your session. You can find us here on Rumble channel. Looking at what's coming up on the schedule, I'll show you that in a minute. You can also, of course, follow us and like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. I have a couple of other things to bring to your attention. So we've got these Organite pyramids. Oh my gosh. I just think these are so beautiful, and they're pretty big. I've seen these, and they're not huge, but they're definitely not tiny little pyramids. So they're really beautiful. Spend $100 or more and get any beginner series pyramid for free. And let's see here. Was I sharing that? There it is. Just in case I wasn't sharing that. Let's look at the schedule. What's coming up? So tomorrow, Beyond Astro and the Wacky Woo on Rumble, YouTube, and X. Beyond Astro is just on Rumble and YouTube with Meg. And then we have Jean-Claude and Dick. I don't know how to say his last name. I can't read it all there. And then on Monday, we have the Daily Astro Show with Meg. And Beyond the News, Jean-Claude and Janine, Monday afternoon. And then I'll be back with you on Tuesday. So have a lovely week, everybody. Blessings to you all. I look forward to seeing you here again real soon.